The driver part 2 indicating that he had found a parking slot and turned off the ignition. He looked at Jesus swinging on the rearview mirror. "I have a cross to bear myself," he informed the Messiah. Declan was intrigued and a little frightened as he walked quickly to his AA 8 a.m. meeting with his godfathers on the Falls Road, constantly scanning the area for security forces and his many enemies. Declan closed the door to his car, and even though he knew nothing would go bang, his heart rate continuously increased when he pressed the key fob to lock the doors. Then, doing his usual visual check for any surveillance, he walked around the back of the Shamrock Club and up the dangerous, rusty fire escape. It was derelict now and waiting to be transformed into apartments. However, this iconic building was where he began his association with the Republican movement as a 13-year-old runner and General Dog-S body. To him, it was another sign of the times that the struggle was over for many. Banging on the corroded green doors, flecks of green paint that he probably painted himself fell onto his Nike sports shoes like green snow. "Who is it?" came the response from behind the doors. "Father fucking Christmas. Now open the door." After what seemed like an eternity and a lot of struggling and cursing, the doors opened with a scraping, squeaking noise, and a frail, gray-haired older man appeared. "Well, what are you waiting for? Get inside," said the great Patrick Thomas Malloy, another legend in the Republican movement. Malloy was 78 years old, but his mind was as bright as ever, sporting a black patch over his left eye that he lost along with his right hand in an assassination attempt by the UVF Ulster Volunteer Force car bomb. He started the laborious process of closing the doors again. Declan took over. "Let me do it. We will be here all night, for Christ's sake." After securing the doors, he slowly followed the older man past the snooker table. The felt was ripped, and someone had sprayed IRA in the middle with white paint. He recalled fondly learning how to play with some of the most wanted and feared IRA men, and having his first ever pint of Guinness, even losing his virginity in the toilets at the ripe old age of 15 with Mary O'Connor. The place was steeped in history to him. He could cry looking around at the state of it now. Eventually, after what seemed like another eternity, they went into the old bar area and sat at a dusty old, cheap white plastic garden furniture table and 2 chairs. Malloy slowly lowered himself into the chair and let out a painful sigh, leaning his cane against the table, taking out a hip flask from his jacket and offering it to Declan. "Care for a wee snort?" he asked, holding the hip flask under his nose. "No thanks, I'm still on the wagon." Malloy took a sip. "Good boy, you have just passed your first test." "What do you mean first test?" "What do you mean first test? I've passed every test you gave me and never let you down." "I know you haven't, son. It's just 1 or 2 who doubt whether you should be involved due to your problems with drinking and drugs," he said, replacing the hip flask in his pocket. "It doesn't matter what I do. There is always some bastard trying to stick the knife in. I've been clean now for 6 months, and you know that the Sons have never had a better bomb maker than me. It always goes back to the shit with my so-called brother being a Brit," he said, spitting on the floor in disgust. "Maybe so, Declan, but I trust you with my life and want you on these next important operations." "Thanks, I appreciate it. You know how much I look up to you. You've always been like a father to me," Declan said, taking a cigarette from his packet. "You don't mind me smoking, do you, Patrick?" "Not at all, son. You're a big boy now. If you want to end up with lung cancer like me, that's up to you. In fact, fuck it. Give me one." "I'm sorry to hear that," Declan said, handing the old man a cigarette. "Don't be. That's life and death, boy. Anyway, I suppose you will want to know what I want you for," Patrick asked as he lit his cigarette, grinning. "Well, yeah, that would be nice. Why did you want to meet here of all places?" Declan said, standing and extinguishing his cigarette butt. He joked, "I don't suppose you have an ashtray?" The old man seemed to focus his eyes, lighting up. "Listen very carefully to what I am going to tell you. Declan, it's no time to be fucking about. We are going to make history." Declan nodded his head. "I'm all ears. Patrick, please like, subscribe, and share. Read AA McNally's book Sons of Eirinn, Operation Celtic Jihad.